Alright, for part 2 of the video, let's go ahead and look at which brushes we can use. We have the brush chosen. We'll come in. Let's use a couple up and down brushes. That'll work for what we're doing right now. We'll add a lake and some trees. So let's start out by right-clicking or right bracket, making this a little bit larger. I will pull the color from the sky. That's a really good one, using the eyedropper to make my color of my lake. We'll kind of drop in a new layer, and this new layer is going to be on the top so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll add in a little lake. I want to bring the lake in so that we can kind of see where it comes from. We'll just draw it in. We'll make the path of some water come over here. Maybe make this a little bit smaller for a brush, and we will add a little bit of white right in that area there. Grab the brush again and kind of make it appear as if there's a little bit of white water coming in that area. Then we'll come back, we'll put a few trees in place, so we'll make another layer. We use the same brush. This time I'm going to pick out a brown color to get me going. Let's see, somewhere in the realm of right there should work. We'll go ahead and make a few trees. We'll just start out by making some branches that look like this. If you want it to be a wider tree, of course, bring it up in size. We're going to make a great big tree like it's going to be right in the front. Do that also. Some smaller ones, smaller ones, smaller ones. Add as many as you want. Now, to add to those, we're going to have to go and get a color. We'll go into the green spectrum, come up with some mid-colors of green. Just to make it easy, I'll switch to the back and I will find a darker color green. Now I have two different shades. I'll go back to my brushes. This time we're going to find something that might look like I can use for leaves. That looks like that might work pretty well. Let's give that a try. We'll take this on my layer for my trees, and I'll enlarge it a bit and start to add something to it. That color green is just so close to the other color that it's not seeming to work too well. So let's try something that's a little different. Find a brush that's a little more irregular. That one's just a little bit too symmetrical to use. There we go. Found something else. Try this. Make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And we'll come in and we'll use the darker color. You can see that when you add the second color in, or a third color, it seems as if you actually have some leaves on a tree. And then to finish off, I always do this one on the last stroke or two, is I use a light green color. And I'll show you what that does in just a minute. We'll just grab something in a much lighter spectrum, something like this. The reason I use this, and I use it sparingly, is because it looks as if there's new growth coming off of the trees when you use that. It gives a little bit more depth to them. Something larger like this for this bigger tree, a little bit more. And then of course if you want to do just something like just bushes, you can easily put those in. Alright, let's just dive into a painting video. This is a beginning painting video. We'll go to File and New. We'll create a US paper. We want it to be landscape rather than portrait, so we'll take and put this at 11. We'll make this one be at 8.5. We'll say OK. Now we have our canvas. We're going to start out, we're going to make a few different layers. Our first layer, we will use a brush. We'll start with a brush. We'll come over and we'll try to find a brush that we'd like to use. I don't see one, so I'll go over here and I'll add my calligraphy brushes. I'll append this and I look down and I'll use this one right here. And I can see that that's not nearly large enough, so I'm going to use a right bracket and increase the size of my brush. I'll come in and start out by finding a color. This is going to be a mountain, so I'll make it a dark brown color. And I will start in and draw this mountain up here, bring it down, take and make another one that's a little bit higher, bring it down, and I'm going to finish up painting the entire area with this large brush. If I'm not happy how the mountains look, I can always come back in here, raise them up, make them look a little bit higher, bring them off, and there we go. I think that's a little bit better. Now, we're going to go for our next layer, and that's going to be some grass or some cover. We'll make another layer. We'll come in, change the color. We'll make it some sort of a green. That ought to work. And now we're going to come in and we're going to make this area down below a little bit softer, and it's a green color. Next, we want to add some clouds to the sky. So we'll come in, make another layer. This time we're going to change brushes. We're going to find a brush that might look a little bit more like a cloud. I'll just come into that one. I'll enlarge it by going to the right bracket and see what it looks like. Let's click on there, enlarge it. Oh yeah, that'll work. That'll be fine. Now let's change our to a sky color. At that point, we'll be ready to add some blue to the top of this. We'll have kind of a cloudy show, except for the blue that's right here showing through. Maybe add a little bit more color to that. I'll come in with some gray, maybe a little lighter gray, and this will add a little bit more depth to my sky. Now I'm ready to have a little bit of a sun come in. I'm going to make that come up over the edge there. So we'll start with a shape. We'll go to a ellipse tool. I can go with that shape, or I can just go into the brushes. Maybe I'll just go to the brush tool and choose a round brush. That ought to work pretty well. We'll get a hard round brush and we'll adjust the size by using the left bracket again. Sorry, I need to click that. Control Z. I'm going to adjust that. That looks like that'll be about right. I'll make it a little bit bigger. I won't have the whole thing in the picture. Maybe something like that. Change the color to maybe a orange, bright orange or red. Add this in place. There we go. Now you have mountains, you have clouds, and you have a background. We'll stop right there. We'll add trees and other things in the next video. Thank you.